From our 22 News Broadcast Center, this is 22 News in Focus.
Thanks for joining us for 22 News in Focus. I'm Ciara Speller. According to Project Bread, food insecurity in Massachusetts is on the rise, reaching high numbers seen at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's estimated that over 21% of households with children in the state are facing food insecurity. So today we're looking at the issues surrounding food insecurity in our region with organizations that provide food programs and other support services. So joining me now is Andrew Morehouse, Executive Director of the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts. We want to thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start by asking you to talk about the Food Bank. What is your mission and when were you founded?
Sure. We were founded in the end of 1981 by a group of faith leaders in Springfield, Massachusetts. And our mission has evolved, but pretty much it's always been the same. Now it's to feed our neighbors in need and lead the community to end hunger. It's a twofold mission.
And let's talk about some numbers that we're seeing right now. How many individuals are receiving food assistance compared to the past?
Sure. Now we're providing food assistance through a vast network of partners of ours, member food pantries and meal sites, and emergency shelters across all 4 counties of Western Massachusetts to about 107,000 individuals every month.
Yeah, and so COVID played a huge role in the numbers that we're seeing, right? But what else played a role in this?
Sure. Well, first I should say that this is a dramatic increase. This is 29% increase over the lowest period, which was just February of this year. So we've seen a dramatic increase, and that is compared to the height of the pandemic period in November 2020. We were providing food assistance again through this vast network to 125,000 individuals. So we've seen it go spike during COVID, the pandemic, then drop to as low as 82,000 individuals in February 2020, and now it's spiking again.
Yeah. And so what's the difference between a food bank and your member network or food pantries?
Sure. Before that, I think you wanted to ask me, what's the cause of this increase? You started to say that.
Yes.
And really, there are 2 overarching reasons. One is price inflation, of course. We're all experiencing that. So you can imagine people who don't know where they're going to get their next meal must be enduring and facing. And so that inflation was due principally during the pandemic to the supply chain disruptions that made it difficult for people to get what they needed. And so there wasn't enough supply, so prices increased. And secondly, in post-pandemic, there was all this pent-up demand to buy goods and services and to hire labor. And so that's really was the cause of inflation and why we're facing such high levels of food insecurity now. So in terms of what's the difference between the food bank and our partners, whom we refer to as our member food pantries and meal sites and shelters, our partners. The food bank really serves as a clearinghouse or a wholesale distributor for food that is distributed for free through predominantly our member food pantries and meal sites across all 4 counties of Western Massachusetts, and then ultimately to the mouths of individuals who are facing food insecurity, who don't know where their next meal is coming from, so that they can lead a productive and healthy life and be more food secure.
And how many members are there, and who are they?
That's great. As of this month, we have 174 members. We're actively recruiting new members. And they, again, are food pantries, meal sites, shelters in all 4 counties, Hampshire, Franklin, Hampden County, and Berkshire County, in urban communities, rural communities, and suburban communities. They are the likes of, for example, here in Chicopee, the Lorraine Soup Kitchen and Pantry, in Springfield, Open Pantry, or the Martin Luther King Jr. Family Services, West Springfield, the Parish Cupboard, Westfield, the Greater Westfield Food Pantry, the Northampton Survival Center, the Amherst Survival Center. The list goes on and on and on, as you can tell, even out to the Berkshire County. I won't bore you with the list of 174 food pantries, but they all do incredible work, and we couldn't do our job without them.
Yeah, great information, though. Thank you for including that. And let's say there's an organization at home right now watching us. They want to get involved. How can they become a member?
That's a great question. The first thing they should do is give us a call or check out our website, foodbankwma.org. We have an application process. We will assist them in determining if this is the right thing to do. We want to determine whether they are actually filling a gap in terms of geographic location or time of the day or day of the week. And if they're not duplicating an existing food pantry or meal site, we encourage them to apply. Once they fill out an application, they have to undergo some training and an inspection of the facility that they want to use. And then ultimately, if they pass all those bells and whistles, then we admit them to one of our members, and then they can access the free food that we have available and food for purchase so that they can stock their shelves and get food out to people who need it.
All right, so start by giving you a call and then visiting the website as well.
That's it.
And so we know where the food is going, right, that you're distributing. We know who it's going to, but where are we getting that food from?
Sure. About half of our food comes from federal and state food programs that exist, and Massachusetts really has one of the most robust food assistance programs in the country. And the other half comes from the private food industry, supermarkets, wholesalers, and dozens of local farmers here in Western Massachusetts who grow healthy food for us.
And how much food do you get annually, and how is that paid for?
Sure. So last fiscal year for us, which ended September 30th, we provided about 13 million pounds of food, or the equivalent of 10.8 million meals to individuals, as I described, and through our network of partners. And most of it is paid for by federal and state governments. The half that isn't is donated, as I mentioned before. And so we're able to receive that food for free, but it takes a capacity to be able to do that. So in our new food distribution center right here in Chicopee, we have the capacity, along with our staff of about 62 employees, to receive, store, and distribute all that food. So that takes an operating budget of about $9 million. So for every dollar donated, because of this capacity, we're able to provide the equivalent of 3 meals by virtue of all the food that we receive from the federal state government and all that free donated food. And
so, like you just mentioned, you recently moved to Chicopee. What prompted that move?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it actually stems back to the period after the Great Recession. I'm dating myself now, but so around 2016, well, years after the Great Recession supposedly ended, there were still elevated numbers of people seeking food assistance, been dislocated because of the Great Recession, looking for jobs or for income that they'd lost because so many good-paying jobs left the area, and what were left were service sector jobs. And so there was just such a tremendous demand for food assistance that we were running out of space to store it. And so we knew we needed additional space. And then during COVID, there was such an incredible abundance and outpouring of support of donated food and purchased food that we received, that we didn't have enough space to store it. So we literally had to turn away about 1.4 million pounds of food over the course of about 2 years. And during that time, we were looking for a new location, and we found it in Chicopee, and here we are.
Yeah, bigger space to be able to do more for the community.
Exactly.
And so, speaking of the community, you rely on a lot of contributions and donations to continue doing your work there. We had the 14th annual March for the Food Bank that recently took place. So talk about that and the overall success.
Sure, it's our largest single fundraising event of the year, and it's always the first and the Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. So stay tuned for next year. And we were fortunate enough to get close, and we believe in the next couple of weeks we will reach our goal of having raised about $500,000, or the equivalent of 1.5 million meals. So you can imagine the impact that has on our mission. But I have to say, equally important is the awareness that we're able to raise by virtue of the attention we receive, our partnerships with local radio stations, so we can get the word out there. And literally, we had hundreds of people over the course of 2 days of our march from Springfield to Greenfield who joined us on the march and helped us raise awareness and raise the funds that we can plow into our mission.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We've covered a lot of ground so far, and we're going to continue our conversation after the short break. So, the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts offers several programs across the region. We'll have that discussion when we return. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Today we're talking with local organizations that offer programs to help reduce food insecurity in our region. I'm back here now with Andrew Morehouse, Executive Director of the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts. Andrew, I want to start by saying that there are a lot of food deserts here in this area, right? So let's talk about some of the programs that can help with that. The Brown Bag for Elders, program.
Sure. So that's one of two programs that the food bank operates to distribute food directly to individuals as opposed to through our network of food pantries and meal site partners. And that program, as it says, is for elders. And what we do is we partner with about 52 different senior centers across the 4-county area and some other community organizations to provide them once a month with enough food to fill brown bags of groceries for elders who visit the senior centers in their communities.
Yeah, and in terms of eligibility, what is the age that somebody would be able to apply for this program?
Well, can you believe to be eligible for it, you only have to be 55 years of age.
Okay.
So that just demonstrates how accessible it is for a large swath of the population, and particularly elders who are oftentimes living on fixed incomes, and so this food is really, really important to them. And other than that, there is an income eligibility requirement, and that changes every year, so that's something that our staff would assist them with to apply, and then once they're admitted into the program, they're eligible to go to the senior center of their choice once a month for the entire year.
And so in terms of applying, is it something that you do online?
It can be done online, but more often folks will call us, and you can get our number from our website, foodbankwma.org, or just call 413-278-9738.
And how is that food distributed?
Sure. So again, all of the food comes to the food bank, and then we distribute it on our trucks to those 52 senior centers and community organizations. And then actually there are satellite sites, another 40 or 50 in more remote rural communities. So we're really touching elders in almost every town and city of Western Massachusetts.
Yeah, and so in this day and age, you can kind of put anything on wheels, right? So you have the mobile food bank as well. Tell us about that.
So that's a different kind of program. That's honestly open to anyone, and that's because we believe that given the sites where we distribute the food, the presumption is that you're in need of food assistance. And who else would stand on a line in inclement weather or in front of their neighbors with, unfortunately, the shames that is associated with receiving food assistance if you didn't really need it? So we have 26 sites across all 4 counties. And we send a truck filled with food, in this case predominantly with perishable food, fresh vegetables from our local farms. And we set it up, and volunteers like the Brown Bag programs come, and they help us pack it into bags for individuals who come to any of those distribution sites, 26, once or twice a month, again in cities and towns across all 4 counties of Western Massachusetts. And within 45 minutes, we provide food to anywhere from 150 to 300 people.
And what's the application process for that?
There is no
application process.
Yep. The only thing we ask when individuals approach the food line is how have you been here before, and how many elders and how many children are in your household, so we can get an idea of the types of individuals that we're providing food assistance to, how vulnerable they are. But we don't ask for private confidential information that might feel someone uncomfortable, because we really want it to be accessible, and we want to treat people with dignity and respect.
Okay. And so the food bank has a nutrition outreach team. Who is this team, and what do they do?
Sure. We have 2 nutrition coordinators and someone who supports them. And their job is really to help individuals learn healthy eating behaviors. So they prepare meals with the food that we distribute, so that individuals and the staff and volunteers at pantries and meal sites who distribute this food are able to share with them the food that they actually can prepare themselves, what it could taste like, and they prepare recipes. They provide workshops, and specifically helping individuals who have dietary restrictions or who may have chronic illnesses, so they can learn how to eat healthy food and shop on a budget and stretch their dollars. And hopefully in that way we're improving food security for individuals as well. And
you talked about workshops. So could an organization reach out to you guys to have some sort of workshop facilitated?
Sure, we would entertain that. We have a lot on our plate with our 174 partners.
Not to give you anything more to take on.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We always look for opportunities to partner with the community because we believe in the power of community.
All right, and the federal nutrition program called SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, previously known as food stamps, right, helps millions of Americans buy groceries. So talk about the food bank SNAP outreach and enrollment program.
Sure, we play our role in trying to assist individuals to apply and obtain this really important federal benefit for only income eligible individuals. There are lots of verification requirements, a very strict program. It's very complicated, so we assist every year anywhere from 800 to 1,000 individuals to apply for SNAP benefits. This recently our approval rate is about 66%, so that just goes to show how strict the eligibility requirements are. And so that translates for us into about 750,000 meals over the course of a 12-month period that these 800 to 1,000 individuals are able to purchase with their monthly SNAP benefits, which they access through the equivalent of a EBT, an electronic benefit transfer card, like an ATM card. And it's again for people who really need food assistance. And so that actually translates into about $1.1 million in economic activity, because for every SNAP dollar that's spent, that stimulates the economy through all that money that's getting circulated through businesses and people who are employed there. And so it has a dramatic impact on our local economy.
And so our viewers might not know that the food bank has 2 farms.
That's right.
So tell us about the farms. Where are they located?
Sure. Both our farms are in Hadley, Massachusetts, which has some of the richest soil in the country, if you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yes, indeed. We have about 80 tillable acres, and most of the land we lease to organic farmers who, in lieu of cash rent, give us a share of the harvest, because then we take that fresh, organic vegetables and we distribute it through our network of member pantries and meal sites. Their share of the harvest they sell to their customers, which include the Springfield Public Schools. So much of their food that they grow and harvest, they sell to the Springfield Public Schools to feed children at risk of hunger.
Yeah, making sure our young scholars get some really, really healthy, good foods.
That's right, because we all need to eat healthy food in order to thrive and get ahead in life, whether you're a child in a school, an elder, who needs to be able to afford prescriptions and can't because they're making the choice between paying their subscriptions, they're paying their rent, or putting food on the table. We also on our farm have an initiative called Cultivating for Community, where we have hired a farm manager and we have staff and they grow vegetables, and they work with students and other volunteers who want to learn about the type of farming that we do there and learn about local agriculture and food insecurity and the importance of nutrition and where your food comes from.
And so who manages the farm?
Well, a bunch of us do. I have a role to play in it, believe it or not, but we have a farm manager as well. And we're about to pilot an incubator farm where we're going to be recruiting new emerging farmers to learn about how to farm what we call no-till farming. That's a story for another day.
And so, I mean, you didn't have to watch the 22 News Storm Team this past summer to know that it rained a lot.
Yeah.
Did that hurt your crops?
Surprisingly, it did not. Our farm is not near a river or any waterbed, and it's, again, some of the richest soil in the country, so it drains very well. So none of our farmers lost crops on our farm. We were very lucky.
Very lucky. Yes, yeah. Very fortunate. And before we go to break, I just want to ask you, what are some ways that our community can help support the food bank? Yeah,
that's a great question. Well, the best way is to get involved, and there's so many ways to do it. go to our website, foodbankwma.org, learn about the issue of food insecurity, and then really consider volunteering, whether it's at the food bank or at a local food pantry or meal site in your community, or at one of our direct food distributions, whether it's the Brown Bag or for Elders program or the mobile food bank.
Right.
But of course, consider making a donation, because for every $1 you donate, we're able to provide 3 meals to folks in need of food assistance.
Yeah, and that might not seem like a lot, but that really goes a long way.
It's so great. It's one of the most incredible rates of return you can imagine.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
After the break, we'll be talking with one organization in Springfield that provides groceries, meals, and social services to, in, and around the greater Springfield area. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Our topic today is on food insecurity in the region and programs and services that provide support to families and individuals in need. Joining me now is Nicole Lucier, Managing Director at Open Pantry Community Services, and we thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Open Pantry's emergency food pantry began nearly 50 years ago, providing groceries, toiletries, and other items to families and individuals. So how many families have you served this year?
We have served approximately already 40,000 individuals.
Yeah, and just concentrated in Western Massachusetts,
Yeah.
a large number.
A large number, yes.
Yeah, and do you have an estimate of how many pounds of food the Open Pantry has distributed?
We're guessing right now about 1.7 million pounds, and that's only going to go up.
And is
from
that
here.
more than last year?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so it's
yeah.
more than last year as well.
It's a significant amount, yeah.
Are you seeing an increase in applications into your food pantry?
Yes, every month it seems to be going up by at least 50 to 100 individuals a month. It's a huge increase. It's a huge wear on our program and the amount that we can give out.
And so how would an individual or family go about applying for some assistance?
So they really don't have to do anything. Anybody can show up to the pantry. We don't ask for ID or any proof of anything. You don't have to show how much you make or how much you have. We just take you as you are. You come in, tell us what you need and how many people are in your family, and we help you out.
And is this just for Springfield residents, or is it to any location?
We're open to anybody. We
Okay.
don't even check your ID, so you could be in another state, really, that if you need food, we are going to help you. We just help whoever needs it.
And does Open Pantry help apply for SNAP benefits?
Yes, we have a great program now. So when people come in to get the food, we ask them if they have SNAP benefits. And if they don't, then we have someone who's on site who will help. We'll ask them, do you want us to help you? Because they may not. But if they do want the help, there's someone right there. Sit down with them, fill out the form from A to Z with them, and get it all done.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
Yeah, and so I want to have you talk about something else really exciting, the 30th annual Rock 102 Mayflower Marathon, right? 22 News, we always cover them. It's a wonderful event. And it was on November 20th. Or 3 days beginning on November 20th,
Yes.
I should say.
Yep.
And so they raised over $217,000 and filled more than 5 trailers with donated items. Just talk about, the community support.
Oh, it was so phenomenal. Bex and Nagel from Rock 102 and Marty Caproni helped out as well, but they are on the air 24/7 for those 3 days, and the community, so many people came down. It was just phenomenal to see. If you've never seen it, you have to come down next Thanksgiving. But it's just the community. It's just nonstop of people coming in and donating. We had a man come with just a little bag of coins, and he wanted to give. He said he wanted to give back, and we had businesses come with thousands of dollars to donate, and it was just. It makes your heart happy when you're down there. It just everyone works so hard, and it's just it's a wonderful event. That food that we get. Last year, it lasted about 9 months in our pantry. This year, we're hoping for at least between 7 and 8 months that it'll last. Just because the numbers are so much bigger, we're not sure how long it will last, but we're hoping for at least 7.
Right, because
months.
the need is so much.
So much more.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah, and so how is the money going to be used?
So that money will be used to buy things that we didn't get donated, like meats and proteins and fresh fruits. So that will go to buy those kind of items that we don't get donated usually.
Yeah, and how essential is this annual event to your organization?
we probably wouldn't survive without it, to be honest with you. Like, that kind of money you just can't get. So we're so grateful to, you know, Rock 102 and what they did, Bax and Nagel and Marty Caproni, and then all the news stations, you guys come down and, you know, you spread the word. And so that is one of our biggest events that we just could not survive without it. So I'm always so filled with joy. You just cry at the end because it's just so happy.
It is touching. It's very nice to see.
And I think even people who are struggling a little bit, they still tend to go to the store and buy something to donate because they know there's always someone struggling even more, which is just...
And every little bit helps. It all adds up at the end of the day.
It does, because, you know, when you go grocery shopping, it's unreal how much those prices are.
It is.
So I think that, you know, people who are already struggling to go into the grocery store, it's just scary, you know, so it's so good that we have that resource for them.
And your organization also received a donation of beef from the Eastern States Exposition. You know, the beef was from 2 prize 4-H steers purchased at an auction at the Big E. So how much beef did you receive?
So I think we estimate about 900 pounds.
Wow.
So much beef, which was, I mean, that is just phenomenal. So even that saves us so much money from having to buy beef for a while.
Yeah, and like we were saying, the price at the grocery store, so meat has also really gone up. So are your clients surprised when you offer them, you know, fresh beef?
Yeah, they're so thankful. They're thrilled. They're floored because we don't always have it to give. So they're just so thankful. A lot of people, just the ground beef, they're like, oh, I haven't had it for a long time. So it's so nice to be able to give them something that a lot of people take for granted. So it's just, that was just such a great prize for us to get.
Yeah, an open pantry for many years has offered holiday meals, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. These dinners are free and they're open to the public. So tell us a little bit more about that, the planning.
That planning goes on for at least 6 or 7 months before. It's just such a great day. It's at Commerce High School and anyone can come. Again, there's no, you won't check you at the door, nothing. Anyone can come for a meal, but when they come, they sit down and everything, it's like restaurant style. Everything is brought over to them, the coffee, the tea, the water, everything is just brought over to make it feel really nice and welcoming. The planning is for a long time to figure out how much of everything we need and where it's, you know, how it's going to go in particular. So it's just, and we do Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter every year, and it's heartwarming too because a lot of those people have nowhere to go. So we walk in and they're just so thankful to have someone there.
And how many meals do you believe, you know, you serve?
So at Thanksgiving, we delivered 491 meals. So we deliver to elderly and shut-ins, people who can't get out. And then sitting down, there was at least 100 people, around 100 people. So it's a lot. It's over 500 meals. We estimate the meals cost about $10 or $11 a person. So it adds up, but it's something that we're so passionate about. We don't ever want it to stop. And
do you believe you're going to continue to see more need and more numbers?
I absolutely think that every year it's just going to keep going up, and Christmas will probably be even more. So we want to make it festive. We want to have some good music, and we encourage people to help us out if you can. Come down and help us serve, or do whatever you can to help us out. It would be great.
And what are your most needed food items?
Right now we're asking mostly for canned meats and proteins. We always ask for fruits and vegetables, which a lot of our clients, it's just so expensive to buy. And so it's stuff that they don't always have. I was there a couple weeks ago and we had a stack of bananas, and someone said they hadn't bought bananas in such a long time because they used to be, 49 cents a pound, and now they're over $1 a pound. They just can't afford it. So they were so happy for bananas. So it just, so
the
nice.
Things that you really enjoy are sometimes the things that you have to cut out, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't. So if we can give it to them, then it just makes me so happy.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the program. We really appreciate, all
Thank
the
you.
information you provided for us.
Thank you.
And when we return, we'll be talking with a longtime food pantry and meal provider in Chicopee. You're watching 22 News in Focus. We're We're back now with 22 News in Focus, and Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Pantry has been a staple in the Chicopee community for nearly 4 decades. Originally started in 1980 as Chicopee Emergency Food and Fuel, it's expanded to a full-service food pantry and meal provider. Joining me now is Kim Case, Executive Director, and Donna Murata, Board President from Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Pantry. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having us.
So let's just begin with who was Lorraine and why is the organization named for her?
Lorraine's Soup Kitchen, as you said, started with the Chicopee Emergency Food and Fuel, and Lorraine was employed by that agency. She noticed that there was the need for food, and so she and 3 others in the community created Lorraine's Soup Kitchen, and she was the first and for many years the only executive director. So upon her retirement, we renamed the organization Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Pantry.
Yeah, and you know, a really nice background and for our viewers to understand, where it came from. So thank you for that. How many individuals and families do you believe that you serve annually?
Well, we serve approximately 1,800 a month, and that's like an increase of 80% from last year at the same time. Yeah.
In our pantry.
In our pantry. And our dinners, Donna takes care of the dinners.
Dinners have, we do probably about 100 people a night, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, and it's up 60% from prior years.
Yeah, and let's talk about your annual budget then. You're saying 100 people a night, so let's talk about the budget.
So our budget is a little over $350,000, but we're lucky that we get grants and community donations. A lot of our food comes from the food bank and the retailers of the food bank, so that's a great help to us.
Yeah, and that's where you get most of the groceries for the meals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And for our pantry
Right.
as well. Yes.
And are all your workers volunteers, or do you have some employees as well?
We have both. So there's 2 full-time, myself and our operation manager, and we have 5 part-time employees. Our intake, our kitchen manager, and then we have 3 part-time drivers.
And how about volunteer opportunities?
Oh, we have them. A lot of people, we don't open on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, unless we have some special collection or food drive like the postal drive. So we are open from 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. You can come once a month, once a year, 5 days a week. We need people to help us open up, stock the shelves, put the produce out, help maintain the building. Sort the fruits, vegetables, canned goods, and then prepping for the meal, and then serving the meal in the evening, and then even going out on our mobile food bank or a food truck.
And can someone just call? Could they walk in and just say that they're interested in helping? What are the steps to take?
They can. They can either go onto our website and fill out an application, or they can walk in and fill out an application. And a lot of times they start right then and there when they come in. Mm-hmm. We don't try not to turn anyone away. Mm-hmm. There's such a great need for volunteers. So, right. We have more volunteer hours a month than we do actual workers,
Yeah.
So.
And a great need for volunteers,
yes.
A great need for food in general. We had some agencies on earlier in the program who were talking about what they're seeing. So what are we seeing in the Chicopee area?
Go ahead. Pretty much the same. We are the increases.
Yeah, the increases because, if you're getting unemployment, disability, even if you're working, you just can't, it doesn't seem like you can outpace inflation. The rising cost of the food, the rent, your gas, your medical is outpacing your paycheck. You get a pay raise and you think, oh wow, that's great. But then you go to the grocery store and you notice that everything costs a little bit more. Yep. It's 10 cents, $1, whatever it might be, and it all adds up.
And let's talk about your pantry program. How would somebody apply for that?
They can just come in. There's a simple form to fill out, and they get groceries that day. And they can come every 30 days for pantry. And then we have also 4 emergencies a year if they're in need. If they run out halfway through the month, they can come back and get an emergency.
And how many items would somebody be able to take home with them?
It depends on the family size, but I think we're at like 60 pounds Plus, we give out, after that, we give out, like, that's our staple items.
Right.
And then we have, like, dairy and produce and breads and desserts, you know, if we have it, if it comes in.
We have, like, people get staple items, and then it's set up so it's almost like a little shopping store. You know, you have the bread out on a rack, nicely displayed. You could select whatever type of bread you and your family like, produce, fruits, vegetables, and any extras that we have. We put out on the shelves for people to select.
Yeah, I've been to Lorraine's many times for stores. It's right down the street. You know, the address for our viewers. How can they find you guys?
We're at 170 Penn Dexter Ave.
Okay.
Yeah, we're right across the street from Callaway, so they can't miss us.
Yeah. And how about your mobile pantry program?
So our mobile goes out to 13 designated areas in the city a month. And it's like from 4 to 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending on, you know, how much traffic there is there. And it's basically the same. They would get what they get if they were able to come into the kitchen, except we can't always bring out cold items, obviously, because we don't have, you know, the capabilities of that, you know. So we bring out as much as we can to them.
And with the holiday season here, you know, what are your most needed items right now?
It's a year-round need. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay.
And not necessarily the big jar, like the 16-ounce, like family jar, because that is the one thing that we have a very hard time keeping on the shelves. You know, and that not many people don't like peanut butter. It's a great protein. You know, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, peanut butter can be incorporated.
Okay, peanut butter.
Yeah.
And you had a golf tournament to benefit Lorraine's.
We did.
How crucial is it for events like that?
Very, very crucial. You know, it's a big part of our budget, and, you know.
We did over 20,000.
Yep.
We have done the last couple years a purse bingo. If you've never been to one, they're
never been to
great.
one. A lot
of fun.
You have to come. You know, you pay your money, you play bingo, and the prizes are 10 designer purses.
Oh, wow.
Dooney and Burke, Michael Kors,
Kate Spade.
Kate
Count
Spade.
me in.
Okay, we do that.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know, we had a comedy show. You know, we try to do a little something, you know, just also not only to raise funds, but to raise awareness. Because you may need our services, you may know someone who needs our services, or you have time to volunteer, or you want to donate to our cause.
And do you have any other events coming up in the near future?
We do have a few events. We're trying out something different this coming year. We want to try to do a cornhole tournament. You know, we'll have our annual quarter auction, and then obviously we're going to have the purse bingo again. So we are trying out some new things. And then this year is going to be our 35th anniversary of Lorraine, so we're planning on having a big event for that. It's still in the works, so we don't know a lot of details yet, but that will be October 5th, I believe, is our 35th anniversary.
Sounds exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, and so how can individuals, businesses, community organizations help support?
Donations, sponsors, you know, sponsors to our events. We get a lot of people who do food drives, maybe do a turkey drive. We have a lot of organizations that will, you know, call us and say, hey, we're donating 50 turkeys. You know, that's fabulous. And also, you know, the money goes a long way, because from the food bank, we can purchase so much with $1.
Yeah.
More than the average person could at the grocery store.
Right.
So, you know, but people like to give different things. Some people, you know, are fine with, you know, sending a check or sponsoring an event. Others, like a lot of the school systems and everything, will do canned food drives. You know, before Thanksgiving, we had 8,000 pounds of food from a number of schools and businesses, churches, you know, so that's great.
Lots of ways to give back and get
Yes.
involved. All right,
Definitely.
sounds good. Another longtime social service organization in Holyoke continues their work in helping people's quality of life. We'll learn about their programs after the break. You're watching 22 News in Focus. Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Valley Opportunity Council was originally named the Community and Regional Opportunity Program when it was founded in 1965. The VOC is now one of 23 community action agencies in Massachusetts. Joining me now to talk about their programs and services is Steve Huntley, Executive Director of the Valley Opportunity Council. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
So you were founded in 1965.
Yes.
Tell us why you were founded.
So we were part of LBJ's anti-poverty efforts that were done back in the mid-60s. Poverty was a big thing, and there was early on programs to try and fight poverty, to give folks a hand out of poverty.
And so what is your mission?
Our mission is to eliminate poverty by providing opportunity to folks in and around Hampden County.
In and around Hampden County. Okay, so is there specific towns, cities, or it's just?
So some programs have different requirements of what cities they're in, but in one way or another, we're in all of Hampden County and in some of Hampshire County.
And how many families and individuals participate in your programs and services yearly?
So we see about 90,000 families in one way or another in a lot of diverse areas.
Yeah. And, you know, we've had other organizations on the program talking about just the need being so much more. You know, you're also seeing that as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The need is extraordinary.
And so let's talk about, you know, many low-income people struggle to pay for heating, other energy costs, especially in the winter. Our winters are pretty cold here, you know, in New England, Western Massachusetts. So what fuel assistance programs do you offer, and how do they work?
So we offer the federal LIHEAP program for all of Hampden County. We have offices in Springfield, Holyoke, Westfield, Chicopee, and some pop-up sites through senior centers and other areas as well. Last year we helped about 22,000 households stay warm, and we think it's going to grow to at least 25,000 this year.
Yeah, and let's talk about the application process.
The application process, there's an online option, there's a telephone option, and there's an in-person option. We have a few sites that take walk-ins, one in Springfield, one in Holyoke. You can just come by when your time allows, or if you want to make an appointment, we have other sites with an appointment, and we have appointments for phone calls as well. So we try to meet everyone where they are in the most convenient way possible to get them the benefit.
Mm-hmm. And who's eligible for these programs?
So for the fuel assistance program, a family of four making somewhere around $70,000 a year approximately would be eligible for the program. The program understands, or we understand, the federal government understands, that $70,000 for a household of four isn't a fortune anymore. And with the rising costs of oil or natural gas last year, and electricity isn't going anywhere, no matter how you heat your home, we can help you. Even if rent is included in your heating, even if heating is included in your rent, we can help you with that as well.
Yeah, and so far, you know, compared to last year, are you seeing your numbers up at VOC?
Yes, our numbers are up. Last year they were up quite a bit, and then this year they're even on target to be even higher. And,
you know, what's involved in the VOC offers heating system repair as well. So talk about what's involved in that program.
So folks that are eligible for fuel assistance for LIHEAP, if their system fails in the wintertime, we really only help folks whose systems fail. And then if there's funding available, we'll do cleaning and repairs for other folks as we get towards the springtime.
Okay.
So we try and help folks upgrade to efficient systems. So not only do they get a new system with the help of the program, but they also could save some money and stretch their fuel assistance dollars the following season.
Yeah, and so in addition to food insecurity, emergency housing is in crisis across the state, right? And so
Absolutely.
Do you have emergency housing assistance? And if so, who's eligible?
So we work with some families right here in Chicopee who are new to the area, who are the migrant families who are new to Massachusetts, and those folks have to go through the state to apply, and then they're placed with us. We help them get acclimated. We're trying to settle them into Western Mass, basically. Get them jobs, get them childcare, get their children enrolled in school, do everything it takes to get them settled and stable here.
And so you said they have to apply through the state. You know, how long is that process?
It has recently changed. There's been articles about it where the process used to be an immediate process, and now there's a wait list and some criteria for folks to enter it. So it's a little bit of a work in progress. I'm not sure how long the wait list is now. It changes every day. But the reality is there are warm and safe places for folks, and with the state, we're working to provide them opportunity so that they can be first generation Americans, and then their children grow up to be the doctors and lawyers of the future.
Yeah, and so let's again just talk about what types of services and programs are provided to individuals who are facing homelessness.
So we provide shelter, but we also provide, we also have a shelter for domestic violence victims, and we work to try and find a safe place for them to live. Sometimes that means we're transferring them across the state. Sometimes that means we're just putting them in an apartment somewhere in a secure building. So there's a lot going on in the homeless world, and trying to figure out safe, secure, and opportunities for these families to get out of poverty. That's the key. Get them connected with education, jobs, classes, adult education, those sorts of things. English classes, GED, what they need to help take the next step on the economic rung.
Yeah, so we talked about, the demand for housing. There's a big need. Are you working with the state on this issue? What's kind of happening with that?
So we're actually in the process. We are very excited to convert the old Belcher School in Chicopee into 25 units of housing. 22 of them will be affordable housing, and 3 of them will be market rate housing. So we're trying to build a community where it's not just one type of housing, it's mixed housing, and it's attractive to live in. And so we're very excited with that. We hope we'll be done in year and a half with those, have those units online. And we're always looking for opportunities to invest in affordable housing and market rate housing in the city of Chicopee and Holyoke.
Yeah, huge need for it. So
Huge
it's
need.
exciting to hear that there's things in the works to make that happen. And so VOC offers programs for children and youth. What is the Cabot Manor after school program?
So that's an example. We have some after school programs in housing authority neighborhoods. And this is when the kids get off the bus, they come in, we help them with homework, we do some sports. It's much like the traditional Boys and Girls Club programming, but it's right in the community that they live in, the housing authority development that they live in.
And do you have a couple of other programs as well? Want to talk about those?
Yeah, we have a pretty large child care program. We have 1,100 kids in care every day, in and around 8 centers in about 140 homes. We ensure that the families can work. We opened in July of 2020 when a lot of the places were closed so that people could go back to work. Making sure families work is important to us. And again, to circle back to our mission, right? That's how we help people move out of poverty. If you can't work and you don't have sick or vacation time, you don't get paid. So how can we be there for families so that they can work to improve their lives?
Yeah, lastly, how can we help you? How can the community help the VOC?
The best thing the community can do to help us is if you hear a story about a neighbor or a friend or a family member who's having a hard time heating their home, who's using their oven to heat their home or some sort of unsafe, have them apply for fuel assistance, have them reach out, let them know there's no stigma in this help. This economy is really, the middle class isn't what it once was anymore in this region, and our economy isn't what it is. So really ask for help, come help them get help because they need it, and we want everybody to be safe and we want everybody to be happy.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. We appreciate you being on the program today.
Thank you.
And I'll have some final words after the break. You're watching 22 News in Focus. You've been watching 22 News in Focus, and this week we've been talking with representatives from organizations that are working to reduce food insecurity and other low-income related issues across Western Massachusetts. We thank all of our guests for participating today, and we also thank our viewers for watching. If you missed any of our program, you can find it in full on our website at wwlp.com. From all of us here at 22 News, enjoy your Sunday.